Okay. Okay. What have been your experiences with IDEA as a parent of a kid with autism?
Well, first of all, from the very beginning, I just want to say that the acceptance of having a child with a disability is a long process. At the beginning, it can be kind of a shocking experience and sort of a grieving, understanding that your child is not normal or typical. And as time goes on, that acceptance becomes greater, but it is a difficult process. Also, one of the main parts of IDEA is the IEP meeting, which is a wonderful opportunity to help each child succeed and live up to their full potential. However, the IEP meeting can be really overwhelming and intimidating for parents. There's a lot of special ed jargon, a lot of different acronyms for things, and a lot of forms. And when you come to the IEP meeting, there's a table sometimes of like 10 to 12 different professionals, and you are sitting there as the parent, and you might feel a little bit overwhelmed. It's a good thing, but it can be difficult. And I know I've heard of many parents who don't sometimes show up for IEP meetings. They're really confused by it. So it's a good thing, but it can be a difficult thing for parents. There is, however, a wonderful resource in the Twin Cities here, and I don't know if other states have this, called PACER, which is, I can't remember what it stands for, PACER, Parent Advocate Center Resource or something like that, which can really help parents go through the IEP process. You can find actually a representative who will come with you to the meeting to help you. If you have time to do that, there are great resources. They also have a lot of literature that can help you as a parent. Let's see, another thing is that just, I guess, overall IDEA really empowers parents, more so than special education had been before it existed. And especially if parents will understand it, there's so much that it can offer. Do you have another question?
What specific services has your child like utilized or been provided
good question.
With?
My son has fairly significant needs with his autism. He has what you might call high functioning autism, but kind of on the lower level of that category. He has had through his IEP speech therapy, occupational therapy, a social worker, psychologist. He's had like a resource teacher just to help with academics, and autism specialist. And I'm sure I'm probably adaptive physical education, very important part of his services. And he continues to have most of those to this day.
What is something that has been very helpful to your child as he has gotten older with, like, I mean a specific service?
I don't know if anything in particular comes to mind, but I think more than anything is having trained professionals to really understand autism. Oh, and as he's now 16, but since he's been age 14, there's something in the IEP process called transition, where the law requires that each student be asked to, or parents work together to help the student plan for their future after the IEP is no longer, after age 21, I guess is what it would be, to work towards whatever those goals are going to be, vocational or college, but to really have their long-range life goals in mind rather than just the immediate.
How do you feel as a teacher about IDEA?
This is more questions than I expected. As a teacher, I feel very positive about it. I've never taught without IDEA. However, as I've become more experienced, I've gotten to work with a lot more students with disabilities, and I feel a lot more qualified to work with each of the different disabilities. I personally really believe in inclusion, and being a music teacher, I included many students with different disabilities, so I feel really positive about it. Another thing that has been really helpful to me in my setting is a lot of students come with paraprofessionals, which if they understand what to do, they can do a fabulous job in making the process of the student coming into the classroom to be smooth. Sometimes their training is really lacking, and I think that can be a difficult part of their job, kind of knowing exactly what to do.
How has it helped, like having a son with autism, has it helped you in teaching?
Oh, definitely. I think I understand a lot more about the IEP process than I think most teachers do, because really that process is really between special ed teachers and parents.
And a mainstream teacher.
Yeah, regular
more?
ed aren't really, they're involved in it with, if they happen to have a student that is on an IEP and they're a classroom teacher, they probably come to the meeting.
But you would never be involved in it?
As a specialist, I'm not usually involved. The only thing is, I will have to say, in my building, the special ed teachers like Mrs. McMurchie and her other colleagues actually sit down with all the specialists at the beginning of the year and kind of give us an overview of all the special ed students and how we can best provide for their needs. So I do hear about what's in the IEPs, but with the number of students I have, I would never have time to read each of them. Also, the information is confidential, so it can't really be passed around freely. It has to be kept in very safe areas.
How many kids with like a learning disability or autism or something of that sort are in each of your classes, would you say?
I could actually, I could check to make exactly, I don't know it off the top of my head, but I would say it varies from, I have some classes I think that have 0, but some have maybe 5 or 7, anywhere between 0, 5 to 7. Sometimes they're clustered. For example, if there's a paraprofessional that comes to the room, they never have a paraprofessional for just one student, so they can have like one paraprofessional help 3 students or 2. And sometimes just even also in the classroom, they're clustered so that the student can work with some particular needs to make it more convenient than have them all spread out. But definitely in almost every class, I'd say there's a student with an IEP.
Okay.